guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, the world's biggest Harry Kane fan, bringing you the pre-match build-up to today's must-win game to keep top four hopes alive. And that is as Tottenham travel to Ellen Road to take on Leeds down in Yorkshire. And today we are joined by Sean. It is a bit of a streamlined match build-up today because the time of the morning, the time of the day, it is the time of kickoff. But Sean, what day is it, my man?
You know what day it is. I haven't even had my coffee yet. That's how early it is. On game day! Come on!
Oh, come on. Absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. As always, you just see what Irish Hotspur Army are in the building. I'm not expecting much. It is early. George Hill says, big up the legends, David and Jacko. It's too damn early on the East Coast. It's not Jack, my man. It's Sean today. Jack is way in La La Land, so he is. Says, but looking forward to this banger. Praying we see Harvey White instead of the ghost of North London. I'm not looking forward to it, man. Sally Ranger says, hashtag Harris Army. Wembley 1 says, morning, guys. It's Saturday lunchtime. Dr. Tottenham loves getting his house calls done nice and early. I have a bad feeling about this one. I think we all do, man. I think we're all going into this with a bit of trepidation. Dan Coy says, I hope we don't play in our third shirt today. Don't think we have much luck in that shirt. Just reminds me of our poor performances in the Conference League. That is fair. We also have RAI. He says, come on, you Spurs. And he says, Sean looks different without a beard, more younger. Didn't even know, to be honest with you.
I got someone said something that was slightly offensive to me on in the street that I know very well, and they referred to me looking like somebody else, and I was like, that's it, it's got to go. So it's all off, we're starting again.
Oh, no, I get that. If someone said something to me about someone I did, someone I knew said something to me like that, I'd be shaving as well, for sure. John Fitzpatrick says, big up, David, big up, John. I hope you're keeping well. We also have Martin Dahl, come on, you Spurs, big up, Martin. Alfie Goslin says, hope everyone is well over the world. 3-0 Tottenham, Kane, Son, and Kulu. I absolutely love that. There's definitely goals here today to be had for sure. Wayne Bonner says, morning, David, morning, Sean, morning, all in the chat. 3 points today, and wingbacks who can cross the ball will do me today. 100%, my man. We also have Mark Cousins. Big up, lads. Come on, you Spurs. We have Kudos. I may be bored in the disappointment train again, but I'm here for it. Let's hope for a thriller and a win. I think you're all exact same boat, Kudos.
Next step. Sorry, go on. No, I was going to say, next stop, Delusion Junction, you know?
Oh, exactly. And Joseph says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, David and Sean, you legend. I am praying we don't see that clown wink starting. I'm scared of this fixture. No, look, he's going to start this. He just is. Kuva99 says, I thought my 4-3 Spurs win prediction was out there, but Sean mentioned the 4-4 gets odds of 200 to 1, and I was sold. 7+ goals makes for a good game, even if we draw, so I'm happy with either.
Yeah. It's 220 to 1, Kuva. 220 to 1. I had a $5 on it, so.
Do you know what? I might even put a sneaky $5 on that myself. John Stokes says, morning, Dave and Sean. Big up, John. William Kelly says, Jesus, please no Winky. I can't take this anymore. I think we're all the same, my man. And then they also have Rifled. Says, good to see you guys back. Big up, David and Sean. Stay warm. Everyone, don't catch a cold. I'll be honest, lad. I got out of bed at 9 o'clock and I felt like getting back into the bed and just cancelled it. It is fucking freezing over here, my man.
Yeah.
So it is. And then we have Slim Boy Tubbs. Let's put a cricket score past them. Good job, lads. Keep it up. Really appreciate that, my man. Big yourself up. 50 in-house. I'm actually surprised for 9:30 in the morning. Everybody, make sure you do smash that like button. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button as well. If you are new to the channel, and guys, feel free to put in a super chat or two to help support the channel. I'm going to give everybody everything they need to know. Of course, it is away at Ellen Road. It's a 12:30 kickoff. Referee is Craig Pawson. In the VAR room, it is Gerard Gillet. It's a TV channels in America. It's on NBC. In Canada, it's on The Zone. And in UK and Ireland, it is on BT1. And the watch along will start at 12:15 p.m. guys. Back here, if anyone wants to come back in and tune in and enjoy the game with us. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think we might actually have the scoreboard and the clock and everything else for today's game. So just bear with us. I'm not sure whether it's going to be for today or for the next game, but hopefully all going well, it should be today. Tottenham, of course, striker Harry Kane has scored 10 goals in his 8 Premier League games played in Yorkshire. Only Aaron Shearer with 16 has scored more as a visiting player in the county than the England captain. Spurs have won just 2 of their last 13 Premier League away games against Leeds, and with those victories coming in May 1996 and January 2004. Of all managers to have taken charge of at least 10 such matches, Spurs head coach Antonio Conte has the best Premier League win rate in matches played on a Saturday. And here's one, and I love this one. Harry Kane is too short of equalising Wayne Rooney's Premier League record of 94 away goals in the league. I do actually have a lot of stats on Leeds, but I'm not even going to read them, to be honest with you. Oliver Skipp, he is out with a groin injury. He's still recovering. Again, not ready. Same as Japhet Tanganga. And then Rodrigo Bentancur. Conte did say that he'd probably be out. He's out for today's game, but he will be back in training in a couple of days, is what he reckons. With Leeds United, Robin Koch and Diego Llorente, I think, are available, with Calvin Phillips and defender Liam Cooper both out with hamstrings, and Patrick Bamford will miss with a foot injury. They're all the most notable players from Leeds. But look, Sean, we'll crack into it with the questions, my man. Tottenham are aiming to avoid losing 4 Premier League games in a calendar month for the first time since December 2003 under David Pleat. Will we get the win today?
Yeah, we're going to get the win today. Leeds are as dreadful as Tottenham are, with volatility and with lack of consistency. I think that they've lost 3 out of their last 4 at home. Liverpool put 6 past them recently. They're a shambles as well. And who knows what Leeds team could turn up, but who knows what Tottenham team could turn up. We definitely got injury problems, and big ones in key positions, and it's going to be tough. But I think with Reguilon back, if Reguilon's back, hopefully he is, then we just have to change the style a little bit and become more dogged and sort of attack down the width rather than down the centre. And hopefully, you're going to get another magical performance out of Harry Kane. Come of the hour, come of the man. We're going to need something special, but I do think that Leeds look just as vulnerable as us. I think it's probably a perfect game for both teams to try and kind of banish some of their recent blues. Leeds will probably think they could get something from Tottenham today because of how insecure we are, and I think that will probably lead them to be more open, a bit more on the front foot. And if the one thing that Tottenham are very good at is playing against teams that press and that go a little bit gung ho and have a kind of devil may care attitude towards their defence, and Leeds certainly are like a poor man's Manchester City in that regard. So I do think it'll be high scoring. As I said, 4-4 is my bet. I'll take a 3-2. I'll take a 4-3. I don't care about the bet so much, but if we are going to drop points, it's going to be because of a mammoth scoreline, draw line. We're not going to get beaten by Leeds today. So top 4's back on. Kinda.
Well, look, I do have a question on that. It's 2 questions away, lad. I will get your opinions on that for sure. Look, for me, I do think we'll get the win today. I really do. Look, I actually believe if we don't win, Conte probably will walk, to be honest with you. I don't think he'll be able to stick around. I just don't think he'll be able to take it personally. I think it's very crucial we actually do get that win today. Look, Leeds, they are going to press us. I think we're all expecting Winky to be in midfield. It all comes down to how he can cope with that, in my opinion. But Sean, are you expecting a reaction from this Spurs squad today?
Well, I am. I mean, I haven't really given my... I haven't done a stream or been on any streams to really talk about what I thought about the Conte comments. But I do want to, just before I get into the reaction thing, I do want to ask you quickly or something, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're quick.
In his press conference last night, or in the embargo section that came out last night, he said, I haven't got it in front of me, but he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he wants everyone at Tottenham from top to bottom to stop accepting losses, right? To stop accepting defeat. Is that another cryptic Conte thing that if we lose today, he's asking Daniel Levy to sack him? Because if he gets sacked, then he gets his full payout for the 18-month contract rather than him being forced to walk and then sacrifice the next 9 months or whatever it would be, 15 months of contract. Do you think there's anything to that?
Do you know what? I usually I'd say no, but this time I just feel yes. Look, Especially with the pandemic and everything else that's gone on, who is going to want to walk away from that sort of money? Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Nobody is. And I think he probably would be asking to be sacked. But I think we'll know. If we lose today and we hear his press conference, I think we'll know straight away, after the game, if we do lose, exactly what his thoughts are. And to be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me to hear him come out and say something that will get him sacked. I'll be honest, I actually thought after the last game, I was just sitting there that night and I was like, well, how do we come back from here? He's called out the board, he's called out the squad. I just don't see any way back. Well, he's still here today. So it really depends on whether the players are with him, to be honest with you. But I do think there's probably an element of truth to what you're asking me, Sean, because I don't see anybody walking away from that sort of money. I just don't.
No, it'd be madness. Right? And then because of that, the reason why I asked that question before I answered the kind of reaction thing is because I don't know how I'd feel if I was a player and hearing the man, I kind of give the analogy that if you're like, I don't know, on a cruise, right? You're a holiday maker on a cruise and you're just going across the Atlantic and the captain of the ship celebrates like a screaming child every time he avoids an iceberg. And the second that one comes up that's close by, he's as terrified and as volatile with his emotions as the rest of the holiday makers on board the boat. I don't want that from a captain. I want the captain of the ship to be like cool under pressure, not to have this volatility within his emotions. And if I was a player, if I was a member of staff on the boat, or if I was a player in the team, and he says the things that he says, 1 week he's like, best bunch of players I've ever played with, or best bunch of people I've ever played with, or whatever. Next week he says something completely the opposite, and he justifies it as a mechanism to get a reaction. I'm not sure what reaction you're going to get from some of those players. I really, really hope that the players see the method in his madness. I mean, I personally don't see the method in his madness. I find it very strange behavior. But, and if it wasn't for the fact that he's such a serial winner, I'll be like, who the fuck is this guy, man? Like, who is this crazy cat who keeps changing and chopping and changing? It's only because his resume is so good that you think, well, he must know what he's doing. But if you're a player, I don't know. I really hope that there's a reaction today, but I don't know. There will definitely be a reaction today, but what reaction? I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Like, who was he aiming the comments at, Dave? Who was he saying he wants more from? Was he didn't call anybody out specifically? Was it Winksy? I don't know. Who was it?
I think it's from the squad in general, to be honest with you, because I have seen him do similar stuff at Inter. And
it worked, right? And it worked for him there.
And it's worked, but at the same time, he had that squad molded in his sort of way, in his sort of belief, his sort of thinking. So, of course, they were only going to react one way. And winners do react one way. But we're not winners here. And we've seen a lot of this squad before react negatively under other managers. So I do agree with you. It's kind of like, what are we expecting today? I'm not too sure. Look, I think the likes of Kane Son, the fact that they have that 36 assisting each other 36 times and they want to break that record, I think, that'll probably get them on board.
Yeah.
I think Højbjerg, naturally, I think he'll take it. Outside of that, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure, I'm not too sure. And that's a bit of a problem here. And that's probably what makes me a bit nervous, Sean, to be honest with you. But look, we'll take William Kelly's super chat here. But before I do, I'll just read out the question I did have for you. It says 8th place Spurs sits 7 points after Champions League places with 2 games in hand on Man United. Is top 4 out of the question, or do you still hold hope and we can get to top 4? And William Kelly also says, stop, Sean, stop. No top 4. Even if we lose, Conte will not walk. This season is done, but next season we will win a trophy. What would you say to William?
William, I love you, man. Big up. It's probably quite early, isn't it? Like, it's a reasonable time of the night for you over there to be watching this. Best time ever for you guys. Listen, Matt. Yeah, look, I should stop, but I can't because that's the sort of person I am. I feel like, I'd hope that Conte doesn't walk. I would hope that he doesn't get sacked. I hope that we could just figure out a way to stumble and bumble our way through the rest of the season. I definitely think that, if it goes completely pear-shaped, like if we lose today, if we get knocked out of the FA Cup, if we lose against Everton, if we go on one of those, horrendous runs, relegation form runs, where you lose 7-8 or 8-9, whatever, then unfortunately, like the hand of the chairman would normally have to be pushed a little bit, because you kind of sit there and go, well, this isn't working, and he's the most expensive member of Team Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah. So, and he's probably down tools a little bit. But I would also hope, like to you, William, I do think that today, I will always stay top 4, like as long as it's mathematically possible, as long as I know that Arsenal are capable of a shit show like everybody else, as long as I know that Manchester United are capable of completely collapsing. If we can get back on the winning train today, and then Middlesbrough goes well as well, I'll still keep positive, because there's still 30%, 35% of the season left. There's no reason. It's going to be very, very difficult, like super difficult, and we shouldn't be in the position we're in, William. But I'll always keep positive until it's like literally out of the question. I do think what's more realistic is what we should probably be lowering our expectations to as a fan base would be top 6. That is something where Europa League, right, somewhere around there where we can do it, and obviously the FA Cup run, right, that should be our priority going forward as well. But and listen, whatever happens, I really hope he doesn't leave. But his volatility and the things he says, I don't know whether I'm coming or going listening to him. I can't figure it out. Like he changes his mind every 2 seconds, and it's difficult to kind of he's difficult guy to predict. Put it that way. What do you think, Dave?
Look, I think if we lose today, right off all top 4 hopes, in my opinion, we win today, puts us 4 points behind Man United, who are sitting in 4th. It's well and truly back on. When you're sitting 4 points outside it, and you still have another game in hand, and then there's no way you can physically write us off. It's just, you can say, look at the squad, we won't get it. I get that, but if we win today and we're 4 points off outside of it, there's no way you can write us off. But if we lose today, there's just no hope in hell that we're going to get it whatsoever. But big up William Kelly, my man. Really do appreciate the support, my man. TC Barton reckons he is trying to get sacked. As Radfar says, I disagree. Conte will not walk or get sacked if we lose. Look, Faz, I'll be honest with you. I hope not. But I'll be honest, if we take a bad beating today, I just think that someone that is a serial winner, they can't handle it. I can't handle it. I can't handle losing in FIFA because I'm a serial winner. As soon as I lose a game, I'm not as bad where I want to smash up my TV because I calculate pretty quickly that I'll have to replace it. Nobody else will. But don't get me wrong. I do be absolutely fuming. I have to put the controller down. I have to go for a walk out. Sometimes like 3 o'clock in the morning. I just have to go for a quick walk just to get my head straight because I lose it. And I just feel Conte will do the same.
Wow. That is passion.
Cuba99 says, I'm convinced Conte is calling the board out. Yes, back me or sack me. He doesn't want to work at a club lacking his ambition. Hide now, Levy.
Yeah. Cuba. Sorry, go on, Dave. Go on.
No. I was just going to say, I do probably think it was along the lines of that, to be honest with you. It's kind of like, look, I'll stick around here this summer, but you got to throw money at me to be able to improve this because I can't take this squad into next season and handle what I've seen from the players this season. And so I do believe it was more or less that as well, to be honest with you. But Shani?
Well, I think that it's probably something to the idea. Listen, again, trying to pick this, Kuba. Me and you were trying to figure out how to create a segment for my show, which was like cryptic Conte or what a cheeky Conte or whatever, something like we're trying to figure out like what exactly is he saying when he says what he says. And the other day he said, I definitely need to speak with the board, definitely need to have a clarification because this is unacceptable. 24 hours later or 48 hours later, he comes out and says, oh yeah, I did speak with the board and my relationship with the board is fantastic. And all the media are trying to make this a problem. There's no problem, especially with Daniel Levy. I have a fantastic relationship with Daniel Levy. Now, are we therefore supposed to infer that during that 48-hour period when they had that conversation, that Daniel Levy turned around and said, don't worry, we've got the money for you in the summer. Just figure it out until then. And if not, I don't know, if we're not supposed to infer that, then I can't figure out why he would say one thing and then 48 hours later say the opposite. Same with the players thing. It's very difficult to figure out. Well, what I do think is in my opinion, people that are on the team leave it out stuff, not that I want to get into that, but people that are team leave it out, some of that brigade, some people within that, not everybody, some people are so focused and like have blinkers on their frustrations with Daniel Levy that they will allow certain free passes to go to other places where accountability does need to sit. And I do think that Conte saying this stuff, all the way, the second that the window was finished until now, every game that's gone badly, he's come out and made more and more things, assertions about the squad when there's nothing that can be done about it for the next 3 or 4 months anyway. So I just don't see what help there is in him doing it. The other thing, just one. Sorry, Dave. On this rant, the other thing I just want to point out about the top 4 stuff is, we all spoke after January the 31st, February the 1st, saying how good was the window, and some people gave it a 7 out of 10, some people gave it an 8, some people gave it a 3, depending on whatever you thought of it. But the one thing I think most people agreed was with the benefit of hindsight, you can look back and reflect on it and how important injuries are going to be in determining how well we do for the rest of the season. Now, it's just Tottenham's luck. It's so Spursy that the very day after the window closes, when we've only got 4 recognised central midfielders, one of them goes down and hasn't kicked a ball in the last month and a half, or in the last 3 weeks, whatever, and won't kick a ball for another month and a half. And then, so we're down to 3. One of them we all know we can't stand. And then against Burnley, we lose another guy. Like, we haven't lost any other injuries apart from to the area of the squad that is its thinnest. So, we are a victim of circumstance with injuries, like everyone is going to be. And the one thing that we can say is that Manchester United and Arsenal, that hasn't happened to them. And West Ham, it hasn't happened to them to the same level in the same area of the pitch like it has us. And there will be injuries that happen to them as well. So back to the top 4. It can all get better very quickly if we get our best players fit and firing, and the opposite happens to Manchester United or Arsenal, West Ham or Wolves. A couple of injuries to their players, and they're in as much of a predicament as we are. Sorry, rant over. Sorry.
No, and you know what? What was it you were saying there about Conte? With what he was saying, and there's nothing we can do with it. That's the part I agree with. Look, I understand all of his frustrations. I completely get it. I mean, every manager we come in, and every manager we've had since even the back end of Pochettino have all been frustrated with what's going on in terms of performances, players, and stuff like that. But, and look, I back Antonio Conte, but I do agree with Sean, and I have said this, that why come out when there's nothing we can do? Like, there's no transfer window open. There's, for me, I just think he's got to give the club a chance, this summer. If he walks now, I'll be severely pissed off with him, purely because how long has this guy been in the game? And he knows that January transfer window is not the easiest window to operate in. It's 1 month compared to the summer, which is 3 months. It's more of an opportunist window. And no club is going to, the players that we'll be looking at Tottenham to be able to improve this team, no club is going to sell their best players to us unless we pay extortionate fees.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen. So I think I was a bit confused myself, because it's like, look, how long has he been in the game? He knows January transfer window isn't the easiest, and there's no window open right now. He has to give us till the summer. So look, we'll just wait and see, Kuva. We'll just wait and see. Shawnee, here's a good one for you, and this is the reason why I say Tottenham never do well on the early kickoff, because I was just going back to my memory, right? And I've been thinking, anytime we've played at 12:30, we just haven't been good. But here you go.
When was that? Yeah, go on, tell me the stats.
Spurs have lost 8 of their past 12 league matches that have kicked off at 12:30 p.m., including a 3-1 loss at Leeds last May. Why do we not do well on the early kickoff, Shawnee?
I mean, that's a brilliant question. I didn't know that stat. That's another terrifying stat to hear just before the game goes.
This same fixture last year, we lost 3-1.
It's probably the same reason why Tottenham generally don't start well in games. Like, it's very rare that Tottenham start well. The first 15 minutes is like we're still rubbing sleep out of our eyes, or we haven't done a warm-up properly.
Yeah.
And the games when we do start well, like against Leicester, like against Liverpool, like against Man City, those games where we do put in, we're up for it from the word go. Usually it works out well. And the games when we're sloppy and we're misplacing passes, we're not. I've got no idea. You'd imagine that Tottenham obviously travelled. I don't know if you've got any more detail in those stats. How many of those games were against top 6. How many of those games were away from
Oh,
home?
no, this is a half one last night, lad.
No, I get it. Yeah. Come on, Dave.
I'm sorry, I'm slacking. I'm sorry.
But I'll be interested to know if there was a disproportionate amount of those that were away from home in the north, where maybe you have to go to the hotel the night before, stay in the beds that's not your own. Look, from someone, I lived in America for 3 years, and my job was to travel, to different states every single week to do my job, and like not sleeping in your own bed, it's a weird thing. Like you don't. I know it sounds so pathetic, but like you don't get as good a night's sleep, even if you're in the best hotel in the world. It's not your bed. It might be far more comfortable, but it's not your bed. And generally, you do get worse sleep in hotels than you would do, especially if you're only there for one night or whatever. So maybe there's an element of that to it, just the disruption to the routine. You're starting earlier. Usually at that time, your body, these guys' their bodies are like, well-oiled machines, or they should be. Maybe they're used to their routine. Usually for a 3 p.m. kickoff, they'll have their spaghetti bolognese or whatever at lunchtime, and if they can't do that, they've got to have that in their breakfast. Maybe just those disruptions. But then at the same time, it's the same for every other club. So I'm sure there's no other clubs that have had the same return or poor return in that. 8 losses in 12. That's
it's pretty damning.
Look, pretty terrible.
To be honest with you, look, I'm a bit of a loser. Like, even when I'm not on, I listen to a lot of managers talk, a lot of players doing podcasts and stuff like that, and they all say they hate the 12:30 kickoff. It's trying to put down pasta into your body at like 9 o'clock in the morning. It's the routine, like you said, Sean. The routine is completely switched up. Your body isn't designed to do like what you're doing that early in the morning compared to what they're used to doing, for a 3 o'clock kickoff. So I do think there's definitely an element to what you're saying there, Shawnee, that it is down to all them sort of things. But at some stage, we're going to have to
affects everybody else as well, though, right?
100%. And the thing is, if you want to be top 4, you want to be at the top of the league, you're going to have to expect 12:30 kickoffs, So you're going to have to get used to it at some stage for sure.
Do you think it's similar to? Sorry, before you go, do you think it's similar to, like, why is it that if you play European football on a Wednesday, you're generally okay for the weekend, but if you play on a Thursday and then on a Sunday, like you do in the Europa Cup, that Sunday routine always used to throw Tottenham off as well, didn't it? Do you think there's something to it? Is it just the routine or that's broken, or
no? I would say there's definitely something to it, 100%, because I think with players, because every step you make, you're told what to do. Your routine is given to you. You don't make up your routine. If it's anything outside of the norm that they've been used to for so long, for so many years, it is hard to try and adjust to something. Like me, if I go into something new, I find it hard to adjust to something. But once I do it repetitively, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I just think it's the same with players that, they do find that when they've been in such a certain rigorous routine every single season, and then it starts changing. I do think it comes down to the element of a routine, to be honest with you, Sean. 100%. Kuva99 says Poch had a fantastic relationship with Daniel Levy too. Even as he was being sacked, Levy said how fantastic. The power of a P45 seems stronger than that, though. Hashtag Levy out. It's so true. I didn't get that sacking because the two of them were like, we still love each other. I just didn't get it. It was like watching an episode of Coronation Street or something, Cuba. It was a bit, I don't know, but
well, there was a downing, like relationships, there's a difference between accessibility and familiarity. Right? Like this is something like the best boss I ever had. He was there for you when you needed help. And he might come down the pub with the team and have one beer with you, but you'd never see him out getting smashed until 2 o'clock in the morning.
He's off after the one.
He's off after one, right? You keep that kind of distance a little bit for professionalism's sakes. And I think that maybe the friendship was a little bit too close. And when this is not calling out Poch at all, but just for the sake of argument or the sake of the conversation, when Poch in the pre-match press conference before the Champions League final, inferred that what else can he do? Win or lose, he might as well quit or whatever. He's taken the club as far as, or whatever he said. That probably didn't go down too well. And then the next season, the team just wasn't the same. Poch looked like he was throwing his arms, gesticulating a lot. It looked like there was an exhaustion of the strategy. And I think that there is in football when you take out things like Sir Alex Ferguson's reign and Arsene Wenger's reign, there's very few managers that whose method remains fresh after 5 years, 5-6 years. It gets a little bit stale. I think the same thing happened to a degree with Harry Redknapp. And there's countless other managers you can look at in different teams where after they've been there for 4 or 5 years, think like Brendan Rodgers, maybe at Leicester, like things are starting to go downhill. So I don't necessarily think that it was. I don't remember it being quite the way that people think it was Daniel Levy sacking his mate. I think it was both of them had come to the end of a working relationship but stayed friends. But you have to either walk or get fired. And Poch isn't going to walk because he's got his contract. And he had a long fucking contract still. He had like an extra 3-4 years on it, right? So Daniel Levy had to pull the plug. But I'll take your point, Kuba. Take your point. Yeah. Sorry, I'm ranting this morning. I don't know.
No, I love it. I love it. You're making my job so much easier. I'm still half asleep, man. Big up, Kuba. Really appreciate the support, my man. What an absolute legend. Big up, Kuba. William Kelly's in the building. He says, Conte is as mad as a March hare. But I love it. I think go all in on all them players. No pride for the badge and no pride to A for a class manager and to play for a class manager and brilliant fans. No, look, 100%. Look, me personally, I'm one of them guys. Like a bollock can never done me any harm. I'll be honest with you, it kept me on the straight and narrow. Why all of a sudden can we not bollock people that are on 100 grand a week? You know, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And you know, look, under Jose, they said it was too hard. He was, you know, he was too mean, this, that, and the other. I mean, all he wanted them to do was go and win trophies. You know, whether you like his methods or not, sometimes you got to think past the methods and you just got to think about the trophies. Even if you don't like a manager, you can still think, okay, even though I don't like him, I'm going to look past all that because I know he has the ways to be able to deliver trophies. So I'm just going to do what he says, even though I don't like him. But players at Tottenham did not want to do that. They wanted to cry. They wanted to moan. They wanted to go to the press. Too mean. He's too this. He's too that. And when I seen that, it just kind of summed up the culture that I thought we were developing at Tottenham. And I didn't like to see it. It's kind of like, I get not every manager will come in and work out. But like a manager that's come in and has won trophies everywhere he's been before Tottenham, surely you got to switch on and go his way and just stop complaining about it. Like, the thing is, Pochettino was so nice to him. He got us to so many finals, but we never got over the hurdle. Yeah. You know, and Jose Mourinho's come in. He tried to challenge them, this, that, and the other, and they just couldn't live up to it. And if they don't do the same under Conte, well, then I think we probably need to rotate more of this squad than what we ever first thought, to be honest with you. Yeah. Because, look, us fans can't accept it no longer. It's getting to the point where we just can't win him. You know, you see a manager, you got to play for him because at the end of the day, if they don't like that manager and they stop playing for him, well, realistically, all they're doing is pissing all over the fans because the fans aren't even in their thoughts, you know, and that should be the first thing in their thoughts. Even if I don't like the manager, there's so many people that follow this club religiously. I'm going to perform for them, but it doesn't even cross their mind, William. It does not cross their mind. But big up, William. Really appreciate it. He says, thanks, Davey. You really needed that stat. No, look, there's a few other people saying it, but you know what, William? I do have a couple of stats that I did turn into other questions, but I'm going to skip them. What I will say is, Leeds have been on a terrible run of form, similar to us, actually, taking 1 point from the last 5 matches, but they've been outscored 17-5 along the way. So there is goals there to be had, for sure, 100%. And, of course, you know, we beat Leeds 2-1 at home in the Premier League back in November, and it was Conte's 3rd game in charge. He had the Europa League game, the Everton game, and the Leeds game, and we bet Leeds. So I would say, you know, if we can replicate what we done back then today.
Started slow in that game, though. I was at that game at White Hart Lane. Yeah, we started slow, came into it in the second half, but at half-time, I forget if we were 1-0 down or if it was 0-0. But it was we certainly weren't winning at halftime, and it looked pretty bleak. But then we managed to find a way through. That fella James on the left was sensational, sensational that day. So yeah, we definitely need to figure out a better mechanism, you know, today. And 17 goals conceded is in how many games is that? In 4 games, 5 games,
5.
Wow. Yeah.
You
know,
how
many have we conceded in the last? We conceded a fair few as well, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we probably actually conceded more, to be fair, I'd say. But no, definitely not as much as 17, but I'd say it's definitely around 10 for sure.
Yeah. for sure.
I think we've conceded. I think it was two for the 2 games building up to the City game, Wolves and Southampton. Another 2 against City, so that's 6, and another
6.
one against Burnley, that's 7. And the other game we lost in the league, I think it goes back to Chelsea. So I think that's another 2. So that's 9
goals.
So
5 games,
what I will take encouragement for is we may concede 9, but we'll double that against them. So as a plus. And look, for me, I think it's about us scoring first today. The longer this game drags on, Neil, we've seen it against Burnley, they will get encouragement to come out. They'll get encouragement that there's something here for them. So it's up to us to put the game to bed early today for sure. But where am I? Yeah, Shawnee. Against Burnley, actually, we got battered from set pieces. Now, why do you think this is? And it's been happening all season, to be fair. It's been happening all season long.
Yeah.
What is it that maybe Conte can do to fix it? But also, should Hugo Lloris be coming off his line and helping the defence out a lot more, Sean? Come out, command his area, come out and collect some of these balls, even come out and punch some of the weight. Because my feeling is, look, we're a small team compared to a lot of teams in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So we're naturally going to struggle from set pieces like that anyway.
Yeah.
But would he not be doing more as well to come out and help the defence, maybe?
So, yes and no. Okay, so Hugo Lloris has never been someone that comes and gets crosses, right? He's very rarely the person that comes out. When he has done it, he can flop at it a little bit, and also his confidence over the last 3 or 4 games hasn't been there. If anything, it's been diminishing because of some sloppy mistakes. So, if I'm entirely honest, whilst I would love to see a Hugo Lloris more confident, more capable, you can't. I would suggest that you can't teach old dogs new tricks to a degree, right? And I don't want him, with the confidence that he has right now, being so fragile. I don't want him coming and then misreading the flight of the ball, because it's not something he's used to doing, and it's not something that the Tottenham defence are used to witnessing or having to deal with as well. If you remember, when we had Aurelio Gomez, that guy used to come for everything, and he was such a big fella. He would take out Tottenham players in the effort to try and get the ball. Yeah. And it was just for a period, it was what are you doing? You're a bulldozer. Calm down. You're injuring our own players. And I feel like I don't want Hugo Lloris to start experimenting with a new tactic now. But that doesn't solve the challenge. What I think the problem with the set pieces is, when we lost again, or not in the set pieces, just those corners, those crosses coming in, 2 late goals against Southampton, obviously the goal against Burnley, all those things happened later in the game after we had made substitutions. And I think that if you look at just the Burnley game, when Emerson Royale was on the pitch, the guy who got to the back post, Ben Mee, that was his man to mark.
Yeah.
Right? But Emerson Royale wasn't on the pitch. And whether it was Lucas Moura who came on for him, or whether it was Kulusevski, one of those two, whoever's playing right wing back, should have been marking the back post, and Ben Mee should have had. But Christian Romero had to do it, but he wasn't sure who he was marking. Was he marking the guy in front or the guy behind? And it leads to confusion. And I feel like maybe what the problem is that they give individual player instructions to man mark certain players before the game. And so for the starting 11, they know what their roles are and what their jobs are. But when you make substitutions in the second half, those players that are coming on maybe are not aware of which person they're supposed to be marking, because maybe the other team have had substitutions as well. And so that kind of player for player role of, this guy's your guy if he's still on the pitch. If he's not on the pitch, this guy might be on the pitch. If so, that guy's going to be your guy to mark. All of those plans are not good enough.
Yeah,
I think that we only seem to concede from headed goals or from set pieces in the later stages of the game after substitutions on both sides have been made. And I think it's just poor planning, poor awareness of who should be taking what role and what man. So I think we need to be better there. But I don't particularly want to see Hugo Lloris coming out and changing the habit of a lifetime. It's too risky.
Interesting. People in the chat, let me know if you think differently. Do you think Hugo Lloris should be coming out and helping them off? I do see what Sean is saying, though. I really do. But Sean, before I take Killian's super chat here, I'll just throw one more at you, my man. Spurs have gone 10 matches without a clean sheet in all competitions since a 1-0 league victory at Watford on New Year's Day. Is this down to the manager's tactics, or is it down to individual errors? And how do we improve it? Because we cannot keep leaking goals at this rate.
Well, I think it's down to individual errors. I don't think it's tactics. so much unless you include the tactics of which players are playing in which positions and why are they playing there. Winksy, allows so much to come through the midfield. It's like he thinks that defending is a term that is only relevant to defenders. He doesn't track back. He doesn't follow all the through balls. Whenever he's on the pitch, we're so much more vulnerable through the centre. And then obviously before we had Romero and Dyer back, you have players like Sanchez that, when they're alongside Emerson Royale, it's a vulnerable area of the pitch with two of the kind of new guys that don't know what they're doing. And it's also the area of the pitch that most of the teams we play against are strongest. Most people are strongest down their left-hand side, and they attack us down that side. So I don't think it's tactics in terms of poor decision-making around who to play where.
It's not like Leeds, basically, is what you're saying. It's not like Leeds tactics where they just
It's not that. I think it's individual mistakes. And I think, having particular players in particular positions because of injuries means we're just weak. We're just weaker in certain areas. But we definitely need to figure out, people learn to play in the pocket against us. And we haven't, when we're playing with 3-4-3, we haven't figured out how to fill the pocket too cleverly. So, yeah, I wouldn't put that on Conte so much as I would put it more on individuals not knowing their roles or not doing their jobs. What do you think?
Look, for me, I look at a lot of the games. We've only recently got our best back three together, which is Dyer, Davies, and Sanchez. Now, look, I know they've conceded 3 in the last 2. Man City, you can kind of chalk off because you expect to concede a couple of goals there, to be honest with you. You're kind of powerless. But I do think a lot of it has been down to individual errors. Look, Sanchez being the main culprit in my eyes. Hugo Lloris gave away a couple against Wolves from bad goalkeeping. Yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily the tactics. Maybe for me, a lot of it happens when certain personnel come into the midfield, and I don't want to
say it.
It's just the truth.
Say it, Dave.
No, look, it's just the truth. What I mean? When a certain player does play midfield, a lot of this happens because what I do see is that even if we do defend well, inevitably that pressure keeps building on them. And, when that pressure keeps building, if you don't have a release valve, the thing is going to explode somehow. And that's what I see happening. A bit like what you're saying, like when they're doing overloads into the pockets and stuff like that, we haven't been able to deal with it. And so I do think it comes down to individual errors for sure. But it's not a good start. We got to stop leaking the goals and we got to, tighten up for sure. Killian Gubins, big up Killian. He says, "Hi, legends. I have the Budweisers chilling in the freezer. Doherty to start." And what are you expecting in today's game, guys? Love this channel so much. Doherty to start. Do you know what? I've been thinking about this. I was thinking about this last night, right? And it's like, me personally, now I know more or less the whole Spurs fan base is actually going to disagree with me, right? But I actually think Emerson had not a really good game, but he had a good game. He was involved, whether we like to admit or not, defensively and going forward, he is always involved down that right-hand side. And to be fair, in the first half, he was at the centre of some of the best play that we had, some of the chances that we created. But this is what I'm struggling with. Is Conte going to mix it up today? Is he going to make changes today, or is he going to make changes in the FA Cup? What one does he see more beneficial to him? I'm not sure, I just don't know where we stand on that. I think you might see Doherty come in today. I do. Really? I do. Look, my biggest concerns is that the guy, defensively, he's not great. It's too easy to dribble past. Compared to Emerson, he doesn't do the right thing. Emerson shows them down the byline. If they get the cross in after that, that's not his problem. It's the centre-backs that clear it. But Doherty does the most sinful thing, and he shows them inside all the time to have a shot or play a little pass in or play that ball whipped in towards the back post, and it's not helping the team. But going forward, he probably could help the team today. So I think it's down to what Conte values more today. Does he value someone that's better on the ball today, or does he value someone that's better defensively? Sean, what do you think?
I personally think that if we're going to have success going forward, we're going to have the ball, we're going to get the ball back from them, and we're going to be able to break fast. And I think that Doherty personally is someone that you don't want in that formation. He might be a better crosser of the ball, but he doesn't make runs. He stands on the sideline. waiting to receive the ball, and then will always look to play it back to, Højbjerg, or play it back towards Romero or whatever else. He doesn't. I don't think he offers enough going forward. He doesn't want to take a player on. Listen, I think that you could put the ball back into the pocket over the top and let Emerson Royale try and out gallop the. Because he is a gazelle.
Yeah.
When he gets at top speed, he has got a bit of pace in him. Now we know the problem with that is, even if he gets the ball, how often does he find the pass? But I'd rather cross that bridge when we get to it. I feel like with Doherty, he slows things down. It depends on whether if Reguilon's playing on the left, then maybe there's more of an argument for Doherty, because you've got a different outlet on the left-hand side. You know that Reguilon's going to be bombing forward and can offer you that. If Reguilon's not fit, if he's still recovering, and you're going to have Sessegnon, then I think you have to play Emerson, because if you have Doherty and Reguilon, and Sessegnon, then I don't see where you're going to get your sort of penetration down the pivot. So for me, I'm sorry, Killian, I know he's your boy. I don't want him I don't want him today. I don't particularly want him against Middlesbrough. I'm not saying I particularly want Emerson Royale either, but whatever, beggars can't be choosers. And I feel like for me, Emerson Royale is probably a better fit today, just because we're going to be able to have the ball and run at pace against them, and Leeds will be far up the pitch and will be out of position. So the one thing about Emerson Royale is that he's terrible trying to beat a man, but he's usually at his best defensively when the ball gets put deep and he can run past a man. And then we'll see what happens with his crossing. But that's how I would see it.
And what I will say is to be fair to Emerson, right? I know a lot of people don't like him, but it's not a coincidence that he always finds himself in so much space down that right-hand side. It's every single game. Yeah. The problem is what he does after that. But he's doing all the right things. And eventually, you keep playing, he will get better, on the ball. He will. It's just how much time do we have to wait for it to happen? I'm not sure. But Killian, if Doherty plays, I'm not going to lie, I probably might have to get down to you early and crack open one of them canned boys. It's like Doherty and Winks in the same team. I'll be honest, I don't know if I can accept that and take that. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see how we go on. What am I expecting from today's game? Look, I'm expecting Leeds to come out and press us like they usually do. I'm expecting if Winks is maybe, which I think he will be, unless Conte springs a surprise and puts in Harvey White. I think any chance
of that happening, do you think?
Oh, look. I don't know, I don't know. After Conte's words against Burnley, I don't know. But for me, look, I've been saying it even this summer. I would just play Harvey White. I just want Winks out of there. I would play him. Do I think Conte will? I'm not too sure. But he's going to, I reckon he will play. Winks will play. And Leeds are going to press the living crap out of him. Leeds are going to use him every single time. As soon as Winks gets the ball, just charge at him. You know, and he's like a deer in headlights. It comes down to how he can deal with that, to be honest with you, Killian. Because, look, there's no point of us getting on the ball, slowing it down, and allowing Leeds to get back in some sort of defensive shape or whatever else it may be. As soon as Leeds press us, you've got to be comfortable to be able to pass and maneuver your way through the press, and then get quick ball to Harry Kane and Son, and let them do the rest up front. If we slow it down today with Leeds pressing us, what you're asking, what will eventually happen is Leeds will take the ball off us in our defensive areas, and they don't have too much players then to play through to be able to get a goal. So we have to be able to play forward but play through that press. We cannot afford to pass it backwards, pass it sideways, because Leeds will eventually get two men on one and they take the ball off them and they're in on our goal. And we know how dangerous that Rafinha is, who, look, this guy has scored 40% of Leeds goals this season in the Premier League. 40%. Stop this guy, Leeds don't win. It's that simple. They don't. I think the only other scorer is Roman Rodrigo. He's got 2 goals. No one else has more than that in the Leeds team. So, like, for me, you stop Rafinha, you win this game, but also you play through that press, you destroy Leeds. Sean?
I think you're spot on. I think, if Leeds are, if Winks is playing and we are doing the 4-3-3, and the press is going to be hard on Winks, what I would like Winksy to do is, like, I don't want to see him panic. Like, I hate the sideways ball, but if he receives the ball quick and someone's on him, don't be afraid, like, to look for Romero or Dyer to find Harry Kane or Harry Winks. If you pass it sideways to Højbjerg or to Doherty, it slows the ball down. But if you receive the ball and you're press, you can do a nice one-touch pass back to Dyer, who could then do a first-time ball over the top. And sometimes going backwards temporarily, as long as the next ball is then aggressive, and with Dyer will have a little bit more time than Winks would. That's a bit more direct and a little bit more of a way to keep the ball in play and to keep the move progressing. If he gets the ball and he just wants to get rid of it at the first opportunity and wants to go sideways, to your point before, Dave, I know we always bang on about Harry Winks, and he does get the lion's share of, of the mud thrown at him from a player perspective. But I think you absolutely nailed it the other day when you said that he is a stat manipulator.
Yeah,
the fact that he goes on the pitch and he obviously tries hard during training. He's a confident guy on the training pitch because he knows full well he's never going to get slammed into by a Tottenham player.
Yeah, that's so true, actually.
They're never going to fucking go after him, right? They're never going to hurt him because they get chastised by the coaches. So he's protected in the training ground, but on the pitch, I think he's so busy just thinking, if I receive the ball and pass it, my pass completion rates are 90%. And he doesn't think that tackles one seem to affect him. He doesn't think that those stats matter because he's a midfielder and a playmaker, a creative playmaker. So listen, if he can't handle the pressure, then don't just pass it sideways and then give a hospital pass to Højbjerg or to Doherty or whatever, because it slows the ball down. Just get the ball, pass it back, and then let Dyer or Romero deal with it, because they're more than capable with playing long balls, diagonal balls. But if you're going to do that, then you need to see the wing backs on the wings. And that's where the question comes back to Doherty versus Emerson Royal. For me, I think that Emerson Royal is the better option there. But I take the point. Someone in the comments is saying that Doherty's always going to be in the box. Emerson rarely is. And that is a good point. But we need to get the ball into a good position first. And I think that Emerson Royal is more likely to help us create that than Doherty is with a team that has Winks in it from the start.
Yeah. And look, with Emerson, because Kulu has come in and he's doing what he's doing on the ball, there is also an element that he probably is making Emerson look better because he's taking that responsibility in the final third off Emerson as well. So it'll be very, very interesting today to see how that game goes, for sure. But look, before we actually move on to the midfield, I do actually have way more questions than what I thought we'd get you, but it's grand because I can use some for the pre-match pub-up we were on TV. Cuba 99, Emerson and Doherty in space. Aboard Soyuz, hopefully. Sean, what would you say to Cooper?
It's aboard. Oh. Yeah. That's very funny as usual, Cooper. I'm guessing Soyuz is some sort of space program, is it?
I haven't a clue.
I was wondering why you hand that one off to me nicely.
On that one, to be honest with you, Sean.
Yeah. I think he's talking about. I think that's like some sort of like a space probe or something. I don't know. Correct.
Come on, tell us get into the comments. Help us out here, Cooper.
It's a little bit too high.
Quicker than the Titanic here, lad. Come on.
It's a little bit too highbrow for us at this time in the morning, Cooper. You have to educate us on what that means first.
100% sure. Joseph says, opposition team see number 8 as food. He is lunch for them. It's so true. Look, I actually do have a question that I'm going to get onto now with Shawnee on this. And look, we've seen so many teams come press us and they see that as the way of beating Tottenham. But that has come from us playing Harry Winks in the midfield. It started at the start of the season when Pacos de Ferreira out in Portugal pressed him, took the ball off, and we went and scored and ended up getting that 1-0 win. And it's just continued on and developed from there. And it just keeps happening. But it's been happening ever since this guy comes into midfield. We just struggle to get a strong hold of midfield because, and the reason is why, is because we're playing with one who wants to go after the ball and win it. But you also need the second player, even though he's a ball player, you still need him to go and help you to be able to turn the ball over in there too. And Winks doesn't want to do it. Like Sean said, he seems to think it's not his responsibility. And I don't know why. But if the guy would tackle it, he would get stuck in. He had some sort of defensive nous about him. And when Højbjerg went, he wasn't sitting back, 10 yards behind him thinking about what flavour Chubba Chub he's going to be sucking on there later. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. Just go with him. And he doesn't want to do it. But big up, Joseph. I really do appreciate the support, my man. I really do. Big yourself up.
Dave, do you think there's any chance of a complete flip reversal on the head of the tactics, so where Winks doesn't start, even though we've only got Højbjerg, but you could find that Harry Kane is asked to do something different, or Kulusevski's asked to do something different. Is there any scenario, given that given that Skippy's not fit and that Bentancur's not fit, is there any scenario where Harry Winks is not part of the starting 11? Even if it meant playing players out of position to accommodate. Eric Dyer coming into central midfield.
I was about to ask you that.
I know,
Look, I would actually give Harvey White a game today. I would give him, look, what have you got to lose? Give him 45 minutes and see what the kid can do. If not, you're talking about bringing Dyer into that midfield. Again, I would much rather do that than give Harry Winks a game. At least you'll have a bit of presence in there. And to be fair to Moon Boots, it does depend what boots he does put on. But he can also pass a football. So I would put Dyer in there or Harvey White, but that's because I'm probably biased because I just don't like Winky.
So Eric Dyer comes in and then you'd play and Sanchez would come back in instead of it's pick your poison, isn't it?
Exactly. Pick your poison, Sean. Winks or Sanchez. What one
does least damage?
Takes away from the. Which one isn't so much of a drop off in quality, and that's one I struggle to understand, to be honest with you. But Sean, of course, we are not expecting Rodrigo Bentancur to play today because he is out injured. We are expecting Harry Winks to come in. Do you think Harry Winks can cope with the pressure that will be put on him from the Leeds press? And as well, just answer that one, yeah.
Will Harry Winks be able to handle the press?
Can he withstand the pressure and the press that Leeds are going to put on him today?
Well, I mean, look, for me, there's one way he can handle it, which I said a minute ago, right? Is don't slow the ball down, receive the ball, and then especially if you receive the ball, from winning the ball back from a centre half, you get the ball, let them press you, and then just play it back to them, and then let them pop it over the top, right? Because Eric Dyer is more than comfortable as a passer. Romero's a very capable passer. There's one way to go back before you go forward, one step forward, two steps back kind of mentality. Obviously, that takes us more into a direct formation, which isn't really what you want to see from Tottenham. But listen, when needs must. So that's one way to do it. Like, stop trying to beat the man. And I don't want him to be just, like I say, this suicide passes where as long as he hasn't got the ball, if someone else makes the mistake, it doesn't count against him. Like that kind of ideology I don't like. So, but it's going to be tough. Leeds have got, quick midfielders that, Koch, I'm not sure if Koch is going to be playing. Actually, I don't think he is, but Forshaw and Klitsch and all that stuff, like they're handy players that can press very as a team as well. So listen, I don't know. I hope that I don't want to see him doing the sideways as well. That's what he said. The only way I can think he can get about it if he's really under pressure is to just give the ball to somebody else. Usually go back before you go forward. But I said that 3 times now. I haven't really got a second option because I just don't want him. I have that little faith in the guy.
We don't even have a second option anyway. So if you don't have one, I can't expect you to have one. That's for sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
Mark Cousins says Soyuz was a Russian rocket similar to Saturn V. So there you have it. There you have it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not the most up to date on Russian technology, to be honest with you. Mark Cousins. I love it. Faz Radfar, can you name any 11 without Weeks starting today? Yeah, just bring in Sanchez at the back and put Dyer into midfield, or bring in Harvey White, my man. Faz. Look, we'll run down through quickly what team we're going to put out, because I do have 2 more questions I want to put to Sean before we do end, and I do have to go off to We're Talking TV. Look, I think Hugo Lloris back, he goes today. I would prefer Emerson at right wing back, bring in Sess Young again at left wing back, same back 3 as we've seen against Burnley. In midfield, I'd be playing Harvey White and Højbjerg. That's just my opinion. I know nobody else is going to agree with it. And then up front, Kulu, Son and Kane. That's my team. Sean, what would you go with today?
Well, I had a different 11, but it was because I thought that Moura was fit, but apparently Moura's not travelled because I don't know whether he's sick or injured or what. But my original team was going to have Kulusevski.
Moura hasn't travelled.
Well, that's what I heard. I heard that. I don't know if it's true. If anyone in the comments can steer us in that direction. I saw on Twitter and I saw in a couple of the WhatsApp groups that Lucas is unwell or is sick. I don't know, but I heard he hasn't travelled. So, but that could be just nonsense. But if it's true, then my first 11 was going to have Kulusevski's drop back and ask Kulusevski to do Winks' role.
Yeah.
And alongside Højbjerg. And then obviously everything else, the same back three, Reguilon, hopefully, and Emerson, as I say, Kulu and Højbjerg, with Harry Kane dropping deep and doing his thing like he did against Manchester City. And then I would have had Moura and Sonny. If it's true that Moura's not fit, then I'd go with the same 11 that you have, Harvey White, or unfortunately, I think the more likely one is Harry Winks. But I think listen, Harvey White, I've got no idea what sort of player, if he's good enough, capable enough. I hope he's there or thereabouts, and I don't see the downside in giving him a chance, because my confidence in Harry Winks is that low that you might as well give someone else a try.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Harry Winks is in here. So says Harry, Kulu and Kane scored today, 2 assists for me.
Good luck, Harry.
Honestly, you wouldn't even make an assist making a cup of tea, my man. Come on, cop yourself on. But Sean, I do have a question here for you, and it's last 2 questions before we wrap it up. Look, we obviously expect Leeds to try and press Spurs today, not only because that's what they do, but because Spurs have shown a weakness to it under Conte, to that sort of high press. How important is it that we get to grips with it quickly and stop showing teams the way to beat us?
Yeah, well, I'd go a little bit further. So I actually think that what teams like Burnley and Watford and Southampton did, because the high press is obviously an exhausting tactic. But I think what they're, especially against Burnley, it was clear that there was, in every game, both the halves, there was 2 distinct shifts in play. They pressed early and then they sat back, and then in the second half they sat back and then they pressed late. And I think it was 20-minute spells, 22-minute intervals or whatever. And I think that one of the problems is that Tottenham weren't paying attention to what the opposition were doing and would try and do the same build-up when we got the ball back, regardless of whether Burnley happened to be in the press stage of their tactic or in the contain stage of their tactic. And I don't know if Leeds are going to do that today, but if Tottenham are going to, you should be able to play 2 different styles. You should be paying attention. Like there's a level, you are playing somebody else. You should be watching what they're doing and adjusting and shifting your strategy. And when Burnley went back to the contain, Tottenham still were pushing the ball around thinking that they were in the press, and it didn't work. And that's why we lost the ball as much as we did in the final third. And so I think that Leeds will probably do something similar. I know that they're kind of like a rule unto themselves in that they don't really give a shit. They'll play their style of football and they'll always try and outscore, which is admirable. But I think that today that Leeds are just not as good at the press as they think they are. And so I think that Tottenham can take advantage of it. I'm still. It's a tactic that people have learned how to play against us. But I think today the other parts of the Leeds game, if we can keep Rafinha in the pocket, if we can keep Luke James in the pocket and in someone's pocket and sort of suffocate those 2, I don't think Leeds are going to be able to do too much. They are going to score, but I do think we can score 3 or 4. And I think we just need to just move the ball fast, right? Move the ball fast, one-touch football, a little bit of tiki-taka. And that's what Harry Winks is apparently there to do. Figure it out, Harry. You can win me over today a little bit if you put in a good shift. But I think that the press is going to be something that we have to just embrace and just move the ball faster, not be slow with that ball.
No, well, do you know what? I couldn't agree more with you. I could not agree more with you. But look, moving on, guys. I have one more question left. Like I said earlier on in the show, Rafinha does have 40% of the goals for Leeds, 6 out of their 15. So we do have to stop him from playing today. That is for sure. And look, Leeds have also conceded 56 goals this season, the most out of any team in the Premier League. So anyone that does like a flutter at the bookies, simply put your bet on more than 2.5 goals today, because it's definitely going to happen, maybe 3.5. But Tottenham will score goals versus Leeds. But my last question to you, Shawnee, and I actually think you like this one because you do like a star or 2, don't you? So,
love it.
I just have to find it now. Give me 1 second. I have so many questions here. Yeah. So despite the poor run of form, Spurs have dramatically improved under Conte since his appointment. Spurs have the 3rd highest XG in the league, behind City and Liverpool, but are underperforming in the goal department by a fair bit. Now, I know we have issues at the back, But does this stat show we also have problems up front and that Son and Kane are not taking enough of their chances? Or is it down to others not taking their chances?
Is that XG stat under Conte or just the entire season?
Under Conte.
Yeah, I mean,
under Conte. It can't be over the whole season because we couldn't even get. I think we went like 6 games in a run under Nuno without even putting a shot on target. So it's got to be under Conte.
Yeah, I was going to say if it's including Nuno, then we obviously must have smashed it under Conte. But listen, I think that there's an element, Dave, to Sonny. I think Sonny's form has been like he still chips in with goals here and there. Generally speaking, though, his first touch has been poor, and he hasn't been up to his usual self. Even though he's still the top goal scorer. And Harry Kane, is obviously he started the season slow. He's catching up now, but we don't have enough contributions from the likes of Kulusevski seems like he's coming in and doing a little bit more, but we don't have enough contributions from Lucas. Bergwijn doesn't get enough chance to make much. Reguilon doesn't do enough. Reguilon's crying out for a goal. Like every time he gets in that chance, the other day or a couple of weeks ago when he missed that sitter, I forget who it was against. He, that was one of those things that kind of can edge away at your confidence as well. I think that there needs to be more contributions. I do think we create enough chances, and I think that to a degree, Harry Kane is now correcting the course from the first half of the season. Sonny needs to get his full confidence back because he doesn't seem to be like the same player as he was last season. But 100%, we need more from Emerson Royale. We need more offensively from Lucas Moura, certainly from Serge Reguilon. And yeah, it'd be nice to see Harry Winks or Harry Winks having shots from 30 yards, like again, stat manipulator when he's 30 yards out, just banging balls over the top. We've initially interpreted it as confidence, but actually, I think it's just stat manipulation. So I think we need more from everyone, mate, in the front 6 or 7 players in the team.
100%, 100%. I could not agree more. And look, when it quickly as well, everybody, don't forget, Son and Kane can break that Premier League record of assisting each other for goals. They're at 36 strong with Lampard and Drogba. So let's go and break that today. And as well, Harry Kane can equal a Premier League record. Wayne Rooney's, I think it's 90. I think it was 94 away goals. Harry in the Premier League, Harry Kane can equal that today. He's 2 from it. So a couple of records, one maybe to be equaled and one maybe to be broken. Absolutely love that. And Wayne Bonner, I think he's confirming what you says, Shawnee. He says, according to Alistair Gold, Moura took a knock in training and has remained in London. So I think, we can take that probably.
Jesus Christ.
We'll start. But look, everybody, it was a bit more of a streamlined pre-match build-up today. I hope everybody really has enjoyed it. But Sean, before we go anywhere, and I can't believe this, it just goes to show how loyal Spurs fans are to the team. We have 213 people tuning in now.
Wow.
And it's only 11:15, and it's been 200 nearly off stream since we started at 9:30. Absolutely insane. Amazing. So Sean, first of all, I want to thank you for getting up at the time you did to help me out. You really didn't have to do it, so I appreciate that. But my man, where can people find you and what can they expect?
Spurs Talk Show, guys. At Spurs Talk Show on Twitter, Spurs Talk Show on YouTube. When the time is right, when it's during the off season, you'll see the financial stuff. Certainly got all these podcasts lined up with scouts and coaches and football agents that deal in the Premier League and stuff. So I really want to dig into that stuff. Although that's going to be probably not until towards the end of the season. But then during the season, much the same as most of the channels. We try and take a light-hearted view, a bit of games on the channel where we play Would You Rathers and make the case for things that you wouldn't necessarily agree with. But yeah, tactics, reviews, previews, all the same stuff you see everywhere else, just my particular version of it. And have some great guests on, some great co-hosts. Dave's on a lot. Cooper comes on a lot. The guys from Tottenham Tantrum Gold and people like Adam William Cahill that are, great superstars of the community as well. So, find me over there, Spurs Talk Show. Thanks for having me on, Dave. It's been a lot of fun. And sorry I've been ranting so much. I haven't even had a coffee.
I love it, lad. You made my job so much easier today. So, honestly, I thought it would have to be me doing a lot of the ranting, but I'm half asleep. So, thank God you did. Absolutely. I love that, man. I do love it. Look, I always come with more questions to be over-prepared rather than be under-prepared. But everybody, please do get over and check out Sean's channel. Look, you see more than enough of him on here. I think he's on here about 8 times a week in 7 days. I love it. So, guys, please do get over there, check him out, smash that subscribe button. You know, he gives us a lot of love over here, so let's return it. Let's get over there and smash that subscribe button. And the game show they do is actually good fun as well, so you will definitely enjoy that. It is something completely different, so that's another reason why you should get over there and smash that subscribe button.
Cheers,
but
mate.
honestly, I just want to say a massive thank you to all these Spurs fans. I mean, we get shit on every single week by this club, by the players, whatever have you not. We get shit on, but we still turn out to support each other. I absolutely love that about this club. And just before we do end off, Killian Gubin says, hope you enjoy the game, lads. I can see it easily being one of the highest scoring Premier League games. Do you know what? Usually when you see all this and you get built up for goals, wouldn't surprise me if we come out of here with a 0-0 later on and we're sitting here, what the fuck? You know, honestly, it just it really wouldn't. But look, we'll have to wait and see, Killian. I hope it's not 0-0. I don't think I could take that. I can't take Spurs not scoring 2 games in a row. It is hard. But guys, like I said, the link for Sean's channel is here in the chat, guys. Just simply click on it and get over. You don't even have to type it in. I know it's early in the morning and half of you are probably seeing double, so it's just easier I put it in. So get over there and check it out. Again, Killian, really appreciate the support, my man. But guys, we will see you all back here at 12:15 for the watch along. It'll be myself, Jack, and Sean taking you all the way through the game. Massive thank you to everybody who has tuned in this morning. I was expecting to talk to about 10 people. The fact it's been over 200, it's absolutely insane. I want to say a massive thank you to you guys getting up early and tuning in. A massive thank you to everybody who has supported the channel financially with the super chat. You'll have no idea how much it really helps us out. A massive thank you to anybody that does get over and smash the subscribe on Sean's channel. But most importantly as well, a massive thank you to Sean for getting up this early and giving up his time. Guys, I'm heading over to We Are Tottenham TV, starting in about 13 minutes' time. Hopefully, we'll see you all back there and see you back here at 12:15 for the watch long. As always, quickly, Sean, actually, I forgot score prediction.
4-3 Tottenham.
4-3 Tottenham.
It's going to be one of the best games. It's going to be one of those memorable games. I'm going
to go 4-1 Spurs. I think Rafinha scores for them, but I definitely see Spurs getting 4. That's for sure.
Come on, Spurs! Come on!
Absolute bore has put in a super chat with nothing underneath it. I wonder if it's supposed to be it.
It's a boring super chat.
A true king. I wonder if that's what it is. Gilzine is a true king. That he is, my man. That he is. But look, guys, we'll see you all back here at 12:15. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte, we trust.
Let's go.